say that I'll take the same condition, copy it in a different tab, altogether. Is this condition here? Let's see this. I'll say my name is Kiran. This is something I'm doing. But after this, I need one more array called locations. I'll do a locations array and I'll tell equal to @ open close parenthesis. And I'll say Kiran is someone who belongs to Hyderabad. Suresh is someone who belongs to, let's say, something like Mumbai. And Mahesh is something who belongs to Pune. Now I want to write my name is Kiran. I belong to Hyderabad. My name is Suresh. I belong to, let's say, Mumbai. My name is Mahesh. I belong to Pune. I want to iterate over two different arrays at the same time. This is what I want to do. Now let's understand this using a for each loop. Can I do this using a for each loop? Now I'm telling for each x in names. Can I use one more for each loop inside this? So I'm now introducing a for each loop inside a for each loop. I'll say for each. And can I say for each y in dollar locations? And inside this for each loop, can I say right host my name is x. I belong to y. Firstly, did you understand what I did here? Yes, no, maybe. A for each loop inside a for each loop. Why should I need a for each loop inside a for each loop? Because I have two different arrays. Yesterday, someone was asking, how do I have two arrays and iterate over it? So, this first for each loop is for what? Names, and I'm iterating over it. Second for each loop is now coming for locations. Now, before I execute this one, let me unmute people online and let's ask this. Two flower brackets, yes. So first flower bracket is starting at, let's say, line number 6, closing at line number 17. Second one is starting at line number 8, closing at line number 14. So if I click on something, it will highlight the other one as well. So two flower brackets as well right now. So I'll have to execute this entire thing. But before I execute this entire thing out here, what do you think should happen, or what do you think will happen logically? To Mumbai, Mahesh belongs to Pune. That's how it should. But let's see how it actually operates. But just observe the statement once again. It said, my name is Kiran. I belong to Hyderabad. My name is Kiran. I belong to Mumbai. My name is Kiran. I belong to Pune. Then it went to my name is Suresh. I belong to Hyderabad. It was supposed to give me three, but it ran 9 times. Gave me 9 different statements. Why is that? If you use for loop, yes, it won't repeat that. But let's understand why is it repeating in a for each. Let's understand the operation of a for each out here. Let's see this. For each, exactly. The person is exactly true. What is happening is this. Let's see this. The very first time. Now there are two loops out here. This is called a parent loop. This is called a nested loop or a child loop. You can have multiple children inside a loop. You can, let's say, have if or something like, you can have multiple, let's say, children inside this particular loop out here, which I'm good with. But what is happening is this. When I execute this particular condition, when I execute this entire thing, PowerShell is first going into the parent loop. Here it is telling that $x is equal to Kiran, first name. Out of this particular array, it selected the first name, assigned something called what? $x is equal to Kiran out here. Then it came into the child loop. Then saying, okay, fine, I see a child loop out here. This is a for each. Now it's telling $y is equal to what? HYD, and it is going inside this child loop. It's telling, okay, fine, my name is Kiran. I belong to what? Hyderabad, HYD out here. But what it's doing, what PowerShell will do is that until the child loop is executed completely, it won't break this loop and won't go back to the parent. It will execute the inner loop first and then go into the outer loop. Now let's see what will happen in that case then. dollar x will be Kiran, dollar y for the very first time will be what? Hyderabad. It will write the statement called my name is Kiran, I belong to Hyderabad. Again, it will come back and will say, okay, fine, you know what, Hyderabad is done, but I see Mumbai in the child loop. So now I'll increment dollar y to be Mumbai, and PowerShell until now did not even go back to the parent loop. So dollar x value is still Kiran. The dollar x value did not change. Then it's telling my name is Kiran, I belong to Mumbai. Then it is telling I see one more thing called Pune. So my name is Kiran, I belong to Pune. This is what it did. It made sure that the child loop is executed completely. So what happened is that when the first time it executed, it gave me one parent loop and three children loop out here. That's the reason you're able to see that my name is Kiran, I belong to Hyderabad and etc. Next, what it did, it said, okay, fine, I will come out of this loop because I've executed for Hyderabad, Mumbai, and Pune. I'll come out of this one. I'll come out of this one. I'll go back into my parent. Kiran is done. Now dollar x becomes Suresh. Now it will come inside and it'll say, okay, fine, you know what? I still see the loop once again because now you're asking me to execute the loop once again. Y is equal to Hyderabad. I'll write the statement once again. Again, Y will become what? Mumbai. Again, execute the statement for Suresh. Y will become Pune. X will still remain, let's say, Suresh out here. Executing it once again. Reason being, if you look at this particular evaluation of this loop, or if you look at this particular execution of this loop, I got Suresh belong to Mumbai, Suresh belong to Hyderabad, Suresh belong to Pune out here. This is what I had. Finally, it will come to the parent and will say, okay, fine, X is equal to Mahesh, and now I'll execute it three times for this particular child loop. Which means that for each cannot be applied everywhere and anywhere. For each has its own limitations. You cannot do a for each inside a for each, meaning you cannot iterate it until and unless you want to iterate it that way. Where for, let's say, does a very good job. What can for do is something like this. I'll say my name is dollar of dollar names dollar I. I belong to dollar of dollar locations. The second array dollar I. What am I doing is that this is again an array. It will have its own index values. I am making use of those index values right now in this particular array out here. So now if I execute this out, I'm getting it in the right way. Why it happened is something like this. Let's understand this out. The value of I to begin with is what? 0. And now I'm telling my name is dollar name bracket 0. I belong to dollar locations bracket 0. Now the 0 of name is Kiran. The 0 of location is what? Hyderabad. So it said, okay, fine, my name is Kiran. I belong to Hyderabad. It said, okay, fine, this is done. I plus plus. So I value is what? 1 now. The one of names is Suresh and the one of location is what? Mumbai. Incremented over once again. This is how a for loop is working better for me compared to a for each loop. So it depends upon what iteration that you're actually doing. It depends upon how you are actually implementing this logic. Depending upon that, you can alternatively use a for or a for each loop as such. Yes, go ahead, please. Can you please come again? I'm sorry. Yes. Yes. Take another name and take another location. So let's say I take something like Shiva. I take something like Bangalore. Sorry. I'm doing a lot of mistakes with my loopings. Let's. Yes. This condition is not existing in the for loop, meaning you have a good point. If I execute this, Sorry, let's come back and execute this out once again. If I execute this, what is going to happen? Less than or equal to. See, the problem with your logic is that the logic is referring to a static value, meaning every time you change your array, you have to also change this value. What I can do is that alternatively, I'll say this is less than dollar names, which is my names out here. I'll say dot count. This one will always return you the count of your, let's say, names. So if you do dollar names dot count 4, because the length of your array is 4 characters, so I don't have to change this anytime. I don't even have to change it anytime. This is what, or this is how I can make my logics a better way. Now my logic is dynamic, meaning I'm not giving a number, rather I'm taking the number from the array itself. I'm saying dollar names dot count. What is the count of that particular array, giving taking the number from that and then executing my loop logic out here. Yes, any more questions here? Anyone, any questions still here?
What if Kiran is from Mumbai?
What if Kiran is from Mumbai? You will have to change your array location. So it completely depends upon how you're declaring your array.
Okay.
Because now a for loop is working with a one-to-one mapping relationship. So your logic should make sure to take care of all these things out here. Yes, anyone, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions still here that I can take?
What if we use just for loop in parent condition?
Just the for loop in parent condition, as in here.
No, no. First,
This one.
here. Yeah.
So if I do a for loop here, and if I change the condition here, telling that $I is equal to 0, and I'll say I is less than 4, and I'll say I plus plus, then I have to do something like this. I will say it is dollar names and then I, but this will end up again still giving me the same thing out here. So if I do this again, since it was let's say this particular array, I'll have to pass it inside this one, and if I execute this out again, I'll probably get the same thing out here. Suresh, Suresh, Mahesh, Mahesh, Shiva, Shiva, and all these things. Reason being, you have a for each loop inside it. This for each loop will execute as many as times as your array is for each and every, let's say, letter out here. So doesn't really make a lot of difference. But since you're any which way is using a for loop out here, you can alter your conditions and tell, okay, fine, it is locations I without using a for each inside it.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. Any more questions, guys? Anyone? Any more questions till here? Anyone? Any questions till here that I can take? Anyone? Anything that I can take till here? Anything? Anyone? Any questions? Okay, then let's write a program today. Let's write a very simple program today. And what I want to do is that I want to design a calculator.
Kiran, what is
Uh,
the difference between length and count?
Sorry, can you come again with the question? I didn't follow it.
What is the difference between length and count?
What is the difference between int and count?
Length
Uh,
and count.
Length and count almost will give you the same thing. So even if I do a length or a count, will give you the same thing out here. So if I do a length, 4, count is also 4. So you can alternatively use this length and count. You can alternatively use it, not a problem. But count,
Okay.
when you say count, right? Count will give you an integer value, length will give you a string value. That's the biggest difference between a length and a count out here.
Okay, Kiran, thank you.
All right, so this is what I want to do before we close, is that I want to design a very simple calculator which just calculates whether a number is even or odd. Whether even number or odd number, that's what I want to calculate out there. And what I want to do is that I want to give flexibility to you as a user to pass a number. Whatever number you pass, it should just take the number, say whether it is even or odd. That's it. That's what it should do. So what I'll do, I'll say dollar $n or dollar number. I'll say equal to read host. Without me declaring a number, I'm telling read host. I'll say enter a number. So if I run this, just the first line, if I say 5 and I say enter, I give a 5 number. And if I see what is the value inside the number here, it'll become 5. If you execute this once again, give a 10 here and see what is there inside this particular, let's say, variable called, or this particular parameter called number, it'll become 10. So whatever you pass it is being stored inside this particular, let's say, thing called as number as such. And what I'll do is after I pass the number, I'm just not passing a number, I also want to calculate it. What I'll do is I'll say if. I'll say if, or you can also do this. You can say value is equal to dollar number, and let's do one thing. Let's say percentile 2. What do I mean by percentile 2 out here is that divided by 2 will give you a reminder. So if I execute this out, I'll say write host dollar value. What I'm doing is that I'm taking a number from you, dividing it by 2, and I'm giving you a reminder. So if I say 11, value will be coming as what? 1, because 2 divided by 11, 2 5s are 10, reminder will be 1 out here. And if I do this, if I execute, let's say 10, 0. So if you pass an even number, you are getting a 0. If you pass an odd number, you are getting a 1. This is what you have. So depending upon this logic, what I can do is that I don't need this value. I can remove this out. I'll say if dollar value is equal to 0, then I'll say write host. Guys, please go on mute. Swati, can you please go on mute here? You're disturbing the class. Thank you. I'll say dollar number is even. Even numbers are giving me a reminder 0, odd numbers are giving me a reminder 1. I'll say else. I'm following it up with an else statement. If and else, I'll say write host dollar number is odd. This is what I can say. And now if I run my program, this is what I have. It's asking me for a number. Let's give a random number, something like this. Or let's start with a very simple number, 21. 21 is odd because 2 divided by 21 will give you a reminder of 1. And if I now execute this once again, I'll give some random number like 77. Odd number. Let's also try with even numbers. Let's say 10. 10 is what? Even number out here. So depending upon this condition, I'm just telling whether a number is even or odd. Again, dollar value is coming from where? Line number 6, which is dollar number divided by 2. The remainder of this particular number out here. And based on this, I am writing my logic. So simple calculator taking an input as a number, doing let's say something like number divided by 2, giving a reminder, and it is checking what is the condition out here. If the condition is meeting, if it's going into the if loop, it's telling number is even, else it's going and it's telling okay fine, number is odd out here. Yes, any more questions? I mean, any questions still here, guys? Anyone, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions still here? Again, while practicing, you might get a lot of questions, guys. So please reach out to me at this particular email ID called classes Azure Devops at the gmail.com. I am not that active on my mobile phone, so I'm not giving my mobile number out here. I won't even probably reply to your WhatsApp message if you send it out to me. So this is classes Azure Devops at the gmail.com. Please send it across. Please send your doubts across. But the condition here before you send your doubts across is this: please draft a proper email. Tell me which class you belong to, what is your name, what is the error that you're getting, what you have tried so far to resolve this error. So when you get an error, first try to Google search it out. The reason I'm forcing you all to do this is because when you start working, you cannot do a WhatsApp message to your manager telling that this is the error that you get. You'll have to send a proper email to someone and get a proper reply out there. And also, before you reach out to someone, do your own homework. See why you're getting this error. Copy that error, paste that error, understand what people are telling online. Tell me what you have done, and I will help you out in return. So you can use this and you can send across the emails to me. And if possible, please include screenshots of what is the error that you're getting so that I can, let's say, look at it again. Please don't take a photo from your phone. It won't be that clear for me to, let's say, understand the error. You can just take a screenshot of your entire screen and send it across. That will, let's say, really help me out there. Yes, any more? Any questions, guys? Anyone, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions still here that I can take? And one quick announcement, guys, is that we will not be having a class tomorrow. I will have to go out of town. The next class will be on, let's say, Monday. We'll start from Monday again. So again, the class that we missed, we'll cover it on a Saturday. Let's say 1 hour that we missed, we'll cover it on a Saturday. Shouldn't be an issue. So tomorrow we won't be having a class. We'll meet on Monday. And if there are no questions, then I'm good for today. We can close the session. So have a good weekend ahead, guys. Thank you.